Okay, so this is an experiment here, trying to do a little social studies video. So I have here a map of Boston done in about 1775, and if you look right in the middle there, there is actually Boston. Now remember, Boston um, had what they call the neck, this area right in here, where you had to go up this road right here to get into the main part of Boston. The only other way to get into the main part of Boston, besides this road right up here, was by ship and come in from the ocean. And this area here is what is considered Boston Harbor. Now, as we scroll out, let's see if I can get rid of some of those things. Remember, my first time doing this. So as we scroll out or zoom out, remember, so like I said, this is Boston Harbor in here, and then we've got two main rivers that come in. This is sometimes called the Back Bay over in here. There's the Charles River, and there's the Mystic River right up in there. Now, we're talking about 18th of April, 1775, which was 245 years ago and 2 days. 245 years and 2 days ago. If we zoom into Boston again, notice a couple things here. I'll highlight the Old North Church was kind of up right around there. I don't know if you can see that. Probably see that yellow a little bit. Maybe we can, here, we'll do this. Right about in there. Paul Revere was waiting over here on the shore, right about there where that blue X is. Samuel Dawes, was waiting somewhere down in here. And so as the British started marching, they came out of their barracks here, and they ended up marching down to the wharf to get onto their battleship. So up in here, the guy whose name I can't remember, who put the lanterns up, put up 2 lanterns because he saw they were going to get on the boat. Now the poem says 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. They really weren't going by sea. Wordsworth, the guy who wrote the poem, I think it was Wordsworth, just wanted to make it rhyme. But the British were going to get on the boat right here, and they were going to sail up the Mystic River here, and you can see they could get off right here and get onto this road right there. So Paul Revere, when he saw the 2 lanterns, he knew that they were going to be coming this way. So he went out and rode this way. Now, he didn't ride through the countryside, remember, like yelling out. He was actually stopping at houses along the way and telling people, knocking on the doors. He knew exactly where those Minutemen were. So he was knocking on the doors and saying, hey, get ready. The regulars are coming. Now, at the same time, Samuel Dawes from down here was going, and he was coming up this way. Whoops. So eventually, theoretically at least, they would meet right around there. But it's not exactly what happened for a couple reasons. Because, well, Paul Revere got stopped somewhere in the middle of here. We're not exactly sure where. But then he eventually got released. He got stopped by the British. He was technically actually captured. But Revere rode into Lexington. Let's see if I can get, and you'll see that right here. Here's Lexington. And the Lexington Green is where the road goes through, and then you have to go that way to get to Concord. You really have to go right through, or at least next to the Lexington Green, and there's a tavern right across the street from that Lexington Green where John Hancock was staying. So Paul Revere went in and got John Hancock and let him know. But right here on Lexington Green is where Captain Parker set up his men in this line, and he said, don't let them get past. Well, then the British came marching up, and it was early in the morning when they had that standoff between all of Captain Parker's men and the British regulars. So right here is where all that happened. And everybody was under orders not to fire. Somebody fired that first shot. The shot that's been called the shot heard around the world. Several of the people, the militiamen, died there, but they had the effect that they wanted to have of slowing down the regulars. So the militiamen eventually scattered, and the British regulars were able to march on. They actually got into the outskirts of Concord and started searching for, remember, they were looking for guns, they were looking for gunpowder, they were looking for ammunition that had been stockpiled there. They were also looking for these records that had the names of all these people who were in the militia, so they could arrest them all. By the time they got to this bridge right there, it was, depending on which accounts you listen to, between 10 in the morning and noon, and there were some 5,000 militiamen on the hill. I'll see if I can drop in a picture right here again of Concord Bridge. But when they tried to cross the bridge there, they were hugely outnumbered. Well, not hugely outnumbered, but greatly outnumbered. And also, they were marching across the bridge in the open, and the militia were hiding behind walls and rocks and trees and everything else, shooting at them. The British had no alternative but to turn around and head back. Let's see if we can get the... So now the British have to turn around here, and they have to march all the way back into Boston, and they can't just march back and get on the ship. The ship's not waiting for them, so they now have to go down this way. They have to go all the way, have to go all the way this way, take all these roads, and get back all the way into Boston, about 18 miles march. And the entire way, the militia are following them, shooting at them. It's terrible. It's an ugly march for the British, and an amazing day for the rebels, what we would now call patriots. April 19th, 1775, 245 years ago yesterday.